Okay, my name is Brian Navarro or Nova the Gemini on Instagram, and this is how I'm gonna get Donald Trump out of office, win the election, and but shut the fuck up. Stop making sounds. Thank you. Damn, talks too damn much about nothing. Anyway, so the US, 244,000 cases. Okay, just look at that number, 244. That number is multiplying every day. I made this about 6 days ago, or I don't know what fucking day I made it, but it was earlier last week. Carol. So her job is pretty much to try to be HR for the people. That's why they're wearing always light colors, and that's why the other ones are about money and statistics, except they just got the formula wrong. Or they have it right based on the 75-25 conspiracy, which I made as well. You know, which is everything is 75-25 divisible by 15 and 30 due to house markets and shingles being 15 years. So, because you need a stock market that you can keep stable long enough to actually make a plan long term. So that's house market. So watch The Big Short if you want to hear about the house market crash and how the government fucked that up too. So New York, these are pictures with my friends. This looks like a zombie apocalypse, except there's no zombies. Okay, 6,000 deaths. That is a zombie apocalypse. The World Trade Center in 9/11 was only 3,000 victims. It only affected 3,000 people's lives physically. I mean, obviously, I know it strings out because of emotions, but that's why we got to get rid of emotions. Okay, because if we just did a thorough investigation, we could see that we just wanted to go over there and take their oil, because that was the scheme back then, and that was the president, and that was the president's plan. Conspiracy, all conjecture. You know, this could be a lie. So I just need to prove Donald Trump's theory to prove the systematic oppression. So if you just have a formula for systematic oppression and you figure that out from the bottom, therefore by divine monopoly you win? I don't know. You win the game. I won the game. Shit, you guys lost the game. So 1 million people worldwide, 244,000 world in the US. Okay, 245. So now with that number, with people infected, that's the number that you guys need to focus on, not deaths and not recovery, okay? Because the deaths is them getting rid of who they actually wanted to get rid of in the first place, and the recovered are the people that are, by natural selection, their bodies were healthier because they made healthier life choices, because they were educated about fitness and health and whatnot. And it's the minorities and all of them that tobacco companies targeted their lungs with the smoke and said it didn't hurt people, and then they did, and then they put the label really small in the box. So they already fucked with everybody's lungs a long time ago to make this work now, and it takes a long time to make a vaccine. That's why you make the virus and then the vaccine, and then when the vaccine's ready, you release the cure. So they have the cure, and they're just waiting for the numbers to be to their percentages. So if you know that there's insider trading, which there's a definition. Insider trading is the buying or selling of publicly traded company stock by someone who has non-public material information about that stock, which is the government. Insider trading can be illegal. It should be, or legal, depending on when the insider makes the trade. So if you, okay, the next sentence will help. It is illegal when the material information is still non-public. So if you make the public known that there's a virus, they can react appropriately, meaning a virus, you have to stop transportation, you pull everything out of the fossil fuel section, and you would have the system collapse. So you can't do that. You have to make this go gradually so everybody pulls out at different times, so there's not a run on the bank. And a run on a bank is when everybody invests $1 into the bank, but that bank invests 50% into other shit to make them money because they're smart. But if that system fails, then those 100 people go back to the bank and ask for that $1 back. Then they owe the people $50, or 50 people get dollars and 50 people don't. So they just are hoping that their business model is correct, but it's not correct because it doesn't benefit the 25%, which is the minorities and anybody above the second floor that doesn't in New York. If you live in a skyscraper, that's why they're called ghettos, because back in Nazi Germany, Hitler, what he used to do is he used to stack Jews on top of each other before concentration camps, and he would call them ghettos, because he knew putting people on top of each other creates sickness. If everybody has to go through one door, you infect everybody. So you just have to have one infection in a place, and then let everybody touch the door because of their ignorance or education or miss media, and now you have a self-perpetuating system of ignorance killing itself because they didn't want to listen to the government that they never trusted because they were always neglected in the first place. So that's fucked. So if you were in China, so 3, 2, 1 is my formula for gas. So if I had the money, I would have done it. So if you have $3 invested, so July, October. So it happened in October. They launched their plan in October because then it went down as it went on. So if you would have pulled out at China's time that you knew that you were launching it, or America, that's $3. And then if you're in Europe, it hits you right here. That's going to be, you get $2 if you pull out. And then here it hit the US, which is the person who made the plan. So then it goes down to $1. So now China buys all this. China buys three, gets 3 times. So they make they make 3 times the amount just off of gas. So we gave them the gas formula, but we kept the vaccine formula. So everybody makes money except the third world countries. So if you're in China and it happened in October, here you pull out at $3, it hits here. A few months later, you pull out at $2 because you figured out the plan, and here at $1 because you can't show that if you pulled out at 3, how did you know that was going to happen? You can't. So you have to wait for that shit to hit you to make your gas $1, or else you're going to be, and that's why it has to hit you the hardest, because you're the one that planned it. If you're the most technologically advanced country, you should know. So with the formula in place just for gas, then that means there's a formula for the vaccine. So you times the formula of the vaccine, or the vaccine, by the infected people. You don't have to kill them. You just have to make sure they get it so their health insurance pays for it. Everybody has to pay into health insurance. That's why it's such a big push. And that's why they were fighting for health care and whatnot, because the Democrats wanted free health care to protect you from the virus. Republicans are saying, no, you need to figure it out, because if the people that can't afford it or figure it out in time, they're dead because they couldn't afford the vaccine. The duality, life and death, alpha and omega, it's all connected. So just not saying be a sociopath, because that's done by getting the shotgun, which is the more trauma you have, the more life experiences you have, and then you just looked at shit differently. All right, so the vaccine market has grown 6-fold over the past 2 decades, worth more than $35 billion today, according to the Steens, the ones that run everything. The firm, because if you have, what Bauer is? Bauer is it's a old name for farmer. So there's root words in names that give you some ancestry. Like Epstein. The firm said the country has consolidated to 4 big players. So pharma has consolidated, let's say 100%, divide that before, there's 4 people. So everybody gets a 25% cut of it. So you just have to have more companies that own the rights to the vaccine for you to get the profit. The vaccine market has grown 6-fold. That's weird. Over the past 2 decades. So when they found out the formula, worth more than $35 billion. The formula, today, according to Steen, the firm said the industry has consolidated into 4 big players. They shouldn't have. They account for 85% of the market. Okay, that's out of 100. So now we have to look at the people that own it. British, French, and 2 of them are based in the US. So you're betting, so the whole time you were creating vaccines, but you weren't creating vaccines for the right stuff? Or were you withholding the vaccine, kind of like cancer, creating a perpetual system of patience and cure, or the illusion of patience and cure? For every dollar invested in the vaccination in the world's 94 lowest, I tried to use Sharpie. Highlighter, I ran out, struggling, balling on a budget, gotta go back to work on Monday. So pretty much you're not selling the vaccine to the people in the US, you're selling it to the rest of the world, because you're hoping the rest of the world is worse off. And there's 70,000 dead right now, so that's a true. So the return is $44. Hard to argue against that. That's a quote. Okay? That's Bernstein's analyst said that in a note. Okay? The oligopoly has been built through significant market consolidation driven primarily by complexities of the manufacturing and supply chain. CNBC. Not me, CNBC. So with that being said, you just have to times $1 times $44. So now, when you look at it, this is how you have to see the equation the way a sociopath looks at equations. So you have to look at the confirmed cases, times that by 44, and then over here, that would be your profit, because this is always changing, so I can't keep up with it, so I'm not going to. I just need the foundation, because it's the foundation that spawns the results. Yeah, so the alpha, the omega, so the beginning and the end. If you set up the beginning, you're gonna create the end. So if they set up capitalism a long time ago, they're creating a system that will never end until somebody is smart enough to call it out all at once but without calling them out individually, where they tell all their buddies at the round table, hey, this guy woke up, let's silence him before he leads a movement that only leads his people. MLK, Gandhi, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to lead everybody. So my intent is hopefully that if I expose everybody but don't criminalize them, but only forgive them, then they're like, well, shit, no harm, no foul. Let's make money together, brother. You got the new plan. So that's my plan. So another few notes. Fuck. God damn it, Pepe. Who tipped you off? Who tipped me off to you? Oh, it was fucking Barney. Fucking Barney. That fucking guy. Alright, so yeah, 5G is hurting people. It says it right here. Deploy their networks in the first half of the year. So first half of the year is when the coronavirus dropped. Availability is still a year or more away. So meaning you can't even use 5G until next year. But we're still setting up towers during an epidemic. Why are we setting up towers? 5G will get a foothold in a little more than a handful of cities this year. A handful of cities. Okay, that's a handful of cities. I wonder which ones those are. Let's check New York. Let's check, and they have radiation frequencies, so you could just look at radiation signatures from space. So you could probably see where the 5G is affecting it to see the real spread of the virus. So, what's it called? That isn't keeping device. All right. So, with onset of coronavirus pandemic, a number of viral social media conspiracy theories have speculated that 5G is the cause of the world's current problem. Simply put, these claims are actually false. 5G does not cause coronavirus. We know it doesn't cause. We're seeing, does it weaken your immune system? That's what we're asking. Radiation does. So, and what they're saying, yeah, so that's what they were saying. You know, that's why Elon Musk is trying to put satellites to get rid of the Wi-Fi. So if we don't have to rely on 5G, we're not irradiating our bodies. I'm almost done, Mom. The debit card? Mom, I don't, just give me a minute. You see, it's the distractions in our normal day lives is the reason why people can't speak out, because we're so busy and caught up doing what they want us to do and seeing what they want us to see. We cannot have time to think. Okay. So, I was in the National Guard, believe it or not. And that was just to be a sociopath, because I would have failed my test if I was a psychopath, because when I loaded every round, I could have shot everybody, but I didn't, because I was a sociopath, meaning I gained nothing from hurting everybody in that moment, even though I had the chance to. So, with that being said, I'm just here to do a culture shock on everybody, you know, not hurt anybody, just open everybody's eyes that there is a better world out there, and that somebody who doesn't care about an individual people, but cares about all the people, is the one to lead the way. And I'm saying that because I figured this out too. Latin America. Alexandria Cortez. She is an amazing congresswoman. She recently stopped a man in an airport in New York. She confronted an ICE agent who, amid a stay-at-home order, they were using a public transportation to transport minors at LaGuardia Airport, or an airport, I don't know which one, I think it was New York, and there's a video on YouTube, but when you try to copy and paste the link, the URL says the video was deleted by the uploader. But if I screenshot it and send the screenshot sends. So they're just putting little mechanical barriers, or administrative and engineering barriers, or that's in the engineering world, it's called administrative controls, engineering controls, and whatnot. So you just got to look at those from a technological standpoint. So now we know that this woman, this activist, this godly lady, thank you, she's from New York too, she sees it. That's why everybody from New York except Cardi B, you know, the whole point is to make the money and go back to your people and change the mindset, not take it and run and join them. But that's okay. That's okay. Just now you know why I don't like certain people, and it's not because, it's just you're a sellout. You're a sellout. The whole point of being famous is to make a fan base, to enslave them, to keep it perpetual. So my opinion, all right, yeah. So yeah, why the fuck are there minors being transported? So clearly there was two French, two scientists that said this week that they were going to plan to test their vaccines on third world countries. And that's when the African president responded, or one of the African presidents responded, because I know Africa is a continent, that he's saying, we're not your fucking guinea pigs. So now what are we doing? We're taking people that were never documented to be here, and we're using them. And they went to the epicenters because you need to have those live people at the epicenters. So that's why she was tipped off. Okay, she was tipped off to tip me off pretty much. So deployment so this is March 24th, 2020. Employment on farms is lower in March, but increases through the spring, peaks in July. Here are the key issues to consider as farm employment is set to increase in the midst of the coronavirus. So how is the agricultural section going to increase in workforce if some of it is used on migrant workers? And if everybody doesn't have school and doesn't have daycares because they're shut down, what they have to do is they have to increase the immigrant workers, because if they catch the coronavirus, that's not statistics that they need to report. That's Mexico's problem. So how do we pay for the wall? That's Donald Trump's. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Affirmation. He says it will come true because it's divine design. Divine design is just somebody who was here first that put a plan in place, and you were born into the plan, and you got to figure it out if you truly want to beat it. Okay? So with that being said, farm employers will need to provide adequate safety equipment. So pretty much saying, yes, they will be safe. Policies implemented in response to the coronavirus could affect the pool of farm workers available. Specifically, school closures and changes in visa processing for H-2A farm workers, which is immigrant, not migrant. Migrant means immigrants migrating here for work. Immigrant workers hired to fill temporary, meaning you're not here for longer than 6 months, which is okay with everybody else that lives here forever. Agricultural jobs lasting less than 1 year. So it's a 1 year contract. H-2A farm workers make up 10% of the crop farm workers. Okay, the whole number is 1 million. So 10% of 1 million is 100,000. Okay, with 100,000, now you're saying that this year they're going to only let in 60,000. Oh wow, thank you, Donald Trump. You're lowering the number. How do you run food on a ghost system? You can't. Okay, motherfucker, you can't. I'm sorry, I'm mad. Because now you're affecting my people. No, okay, I'm going to advocate for them because they don't know the language. And this is why I had a problem with somebody in HR from my job, because they said, well, you should have known the rules that you get FMLA when you have a kid. Yeah, but if my parents didn't know the language, I'm struggling to learn the language. So yes, I'm glad you put the rules in English. Because you're not going to accommodate to anybody else coming here because you don't want them to win. Okay, so it's going to be decreased to 60,000. Thanks, Donald Trump. Oh, but with MLA format, as long as you put the truth above the lie, you only have to quote the top half, not the bottom half. But if you extend the brackets, you put the truth and then the lie. So this is okay, so then it says workers who can be employed on the U.S. farms by as many as 60,000, although federal agencies appear to be attempting to mitigate this by seeking to transfer. Trump, shut the fuck up. So the reason he didn't want me to say it. So what they're saying is federal agencies appear to be attempting to mitigate this by seeking to transfer the current H-2A workers with contracts set to expire to other farm-seeking workers. Meaning the farms that are up north are going to kick the immigrants that were already on that contract, that first 100,000 for 2019 to 2020. And then in 2020, they're only going to let 60,000 in, only report the 60,000. And then now you actually have an incentive to be here because and to renew your contract. So now you have, and that's the military talk that I'm using, because that's 160,000 troops, immigrant troops, that are going to be feeding you. And you're not bringing that up because you don't want to reveal that the poor man brings the food to the rich man. It's always been that way throughout history. You tried to erase it, but you didn't erase enough of it. You only erased a large portion of it. But if you connect the dots and you are asking the right questions, being a sociopath, you ask the right questions. I don't care about birthdays. I have a shitty memory because I'm wondering where we came from. And I will figure that out, but first I have to figure this out for you guys. All right. So, Epstein didn't kill himself. He just didn't change the whole system. And what else? Yeah, well, now that that's done, So the whole Joker theory is that mindset is passed on. It's a mask. Plato said it. Everything is a mask. So it's all about passing on the torch to the man with the smartest idea. So you just have to be the smartest ant to unite all the ants and figure out the system from bottom to top. And I did it within 20 minutes. And I did it within a week of doing homework. So I got a 10-year degree in analytics over a 23-year process of being a sociopath. So this is Ryan Navarro, and if this goes viral, I'm quitting my job, and 51% of my proceeds from my viewership and fan base will be donated back to the Bronx. Period. That's the only thing that you gave to the people, or back to the people from the Bronx. And please argue with me, because then more people will watch me. Cardi B.